welcome to Good Evening JavaScript. So today we are going to learn about the data types we have in JavaScript, and so without wasting any more time, let's just jump into the tutorial. So I'll be sharing my screen now. So as you all can see, I'm logged into my Ubuntu system, launching my terminal here. You just have to fire up your browser. Like I'm using Firefox, so that's it. And you don't have to do anything, but you have to go to inspect and then click on console. That's all you have to do, and we are going to write all our codes here and execute it. If you are familiar with Python, it's same just like the IDLE you have in Python. So okay, let's begin. First of all, we have string, then integer. Okay, not integer, it's called number. Okay, that represents integer, float, and other types. Then we have let's say Boolean, true or false, then we have big integer, then we have what do you say, that symbol, and we have object. Let's see if I'm missing something. We have string, a number, Boolean, big integer, symbol, object. No, these are the 6 types I think we have in JavaScript. Let me check again. uh, and yes, undefined and null. Okay, so these are the 8 we have types in JavaScript. So we're going to work with all these things. So let's start with the string. You already know what a string is. Suppose if I write here name is equals to, let's say, and then if I write here type sorry, type of name, it will go a string. So you can see here, I have declared in string, and then the type of returns the type of the variable which is declared. So its type is string. So there is nothing like character in here in JavaScript. So if I write here gen is equals to, then if I write here type of, it will also show string. So you can see here we both consider a character and also a string to be a string. Okay, here in JavaScript. In C we have two different things like character and then string, but in JavaScript we have only string. So you have an idea of string. Now there are various methods of string, like if you type here string dot sorry, if I type here, let's say, name dot, we have a lot of character like anchor, big, bold, then constructor field. You can see here there are a lot of characters. I'm not going to go through any of this right now, because I think the need of the moment is to focus about the different data types that we have in JavaScript. Wait, let me check if I have started recording or what. Okay, so the thing is that we are going to have a brief idea about the data types, and then we are jumping into all these things like the methods we have in string. How can we apply those methods in real world scenarios? So all that things will be covered up later, but the string is cleared now. So we have number. Okay, I think number, it is not called it is not considered to be like integer or float or something. They have all generalized this to a number. Suppose if I type here like balance is equals to, without quotation, if I write here 0.134, it will be considered as a number. Okay, and if I type here, let's say roll number, then if I type here roll number, so it is also considered as a number. So a float is also considered as a number, and there is a whole number is also considered as a number. So there is no concept of float or double or long in JavaScript. We consider all of them as a number. Now what if you want to work with numbers that are extensively big in size? Suppose I'm working with something like that. You can see here. So for that we have begun to work with the whole numbers that are very big in size or very large in size. If I recall, 2 to the power 53 minus 1, to be very specific, and that size can be that size of a whole number can be used by applying the data type big integer. So if I write here, suppose, let's say count, and then write here n. Okay, so count is now considered to be, if I'm not wrong, a big integer. Okay, you can see here it's a big int. So if you add a n to a big number which you are working upon, it will be considered to be a big integer. Okay, that is the thing. In real world scenarios, you might have to work with a large numbers, so you can't use integer or number, sorry, you can't use number data type. In that case, you can, it will be very convenient on your part to use that n word followed by the largest integer, and then you can use the big int. So that's one thing. And now we have a boolean, which is very easy to declare. You have like this status like true, it will be considered to be an boolean variable. Then sorry, uh, I think there's something wrong. um, with, yeah, it's supposed to be let's go with something called um, taken. So that's how you declare a boolean variable, and that's how you work with it. So booleans are very simple. If I'm not wrong, booleans can be used to check if a variable, if a condition is true or false. And yes, that's it. Suppose I write here 1 is equals to 2, it will return the boolean false. So that's the thing. So we are clear about the boolean part, and now the most important part, the symbols. So symbols are a primitive kind of data type, which creates an instance of an key. Like if I give an example, if I write here, suppose, uh, if I write here, suppose, let's go with something like um, traffic lights. Okay, I'm using the symbol constructor. Here I'm passing the argument, suppose red. So what will happen is that it will create a symbol of red, and that will be unique each time. If you even create another, suppose an instance, suppose you have like lights. Okay, and then if you type here symbol, then suppose the same key I'm using, red. And now if you compare these two things, like the traffic lights and the lights, it will return false, because these two are different even though they are having the same key. Okay, so that's the thing. Suppose traffic, it will not it will not you know contradict with the lights variable. If I write here traffic equals to, let's go with, so you can see here false, but they do contain the same key, if you recall. So these are symbol has its own uses, and it is very important to learn about symbols. We are going to cover it in our next videos, I reckon. So you can see here, okay, there are a lot of methods that you can use in the symbol. So that's about symbol. uh, Now I think we have another thing called the object, which is of which works like the class. So if you want to create an object in JavaScript, you have to do this thing. Suppose student, the second, so student is an object, and now I'm creating a student object. So it will have its, wait, it will have its attributes. I'm sorry, I've done something wrong, I think. I can't hit enter. Okay, so it will have its attributes. Suppose if I write here, suppose name. Okay, so name, and then if I write here, let's say Raman, then sorry, I think I can't use that enter key. Okay, so suppose forget all these things. Let's clear it. Let's clear it out. Yes, so suppose I'm creating an object. Suppose this is the most important part, guys, just pay attention. So if I'm creating an object, I will use the second bracket, and then I'll hit enter, and then I'll write here name. Name is an attribute, and then the value of that attribute, suppose birthday, and then suppose comma, and now I want to use that age, which is 25, and then suppose I'm using the attribute, suppose gender is suppose, no, let's go with is male or male. Yes, such an auxiliary trigger now. So male, I go true. Okay, and then let's get with the, what do you say, I'm using another, I want to use another variable or another attribute. Let's move with age, and then the gender is also done. Now let's go with hmm, yeah, so suppose ID. Okay, let's go with student ID, because there are a lot of students that will be enrolled. So let's go with 10001, and then, so if I want to that's how an object is created. So if I want to access the elements inside that, or the values inside that attribute, I just have to use an dot operator. That's it, that's so simple. So hit enter. So it is creating an object of name student. So these are the attributes that we have. Now if I type here student dot name, okay, will display birthday. Then if I type here, let's go with age, let's go with suppose male, and then the student ID. So this is how you declare an object and use it. It's a very interesting thing to do. And yeah, that's it. That was all about the data types, and I'm forgetting something. I think the null variable, the null data type. So using null is very easy. You just have to use like gen equals to, or let's say x equals to like null, and now if you display x, it will say that null. So there is a difference between the null and undefined part. So if you don't declare anything and then you ask for it, it will consider that to be undefined. And if you initialize that variable to null, and then if you ask for it, then it will return null. I'm quickly giving an example. Suppose in this instance I have not declared a variable called y. So if I ask for y, sorry, if I ask for y, okay, let's ask for er or e. Okay, so there is no e, e is not defined, so it is undefined. And now if I ask for x, it will be null. So that's the difference between null and undefined. Everyone keeps you asking for it, so that's the thing. Yeah, so I'm ending my video right here. If you've enjoyed so far, just hit that like button and subscribe to my channel. That will be beneficial for me. And yes, let's disclose this video right here.